appreciate you, all of you from Pacific Baptist, and I hope you'll pray for them. They're the churches that are making an impact in the world are going to be on the spotlight in the sights of the devil. And you run buses and pick up the forsaken and forgotten and win them to Christ and help young people grow up having hope. The devil's going to be after you. You train young people, Psalm 126, train young people to care about the world around them, and it's going to make a difference. And we got a couple of our young people right now that are looking at Pacific Baptist, and it's close. You can be involved in their church, obviously, but it's also closer to come home and stay involved in our ministry and do your laundry every weekend why pay for laundry there when you can have your mom do it for you. But hold Psalm 126. A year, if you got a newsletter this last week, there's a few things about college, but everybody's not going to be in the ministry, but everybody can get grounded well. And everybody is not, obviously, churches need all kinds of people in all kinds of positions. And I love young people going to Bible college because it gets them rooted and grounded, as Colossians talks about, and settled in their faith, established in their faith. A year's a good thing. A couple of years is a good thing. Most of us that are adults, by the time we hit 20, 21, we still really didn't have clear direction on the rest of our life. And so a young person growing up in a Christian home, spending a couple of years of Bible college, not going to hurt anything at all. It's not like you're going to cast your life away or anything. And I don't know what that thing is you were talking about where people get new skin and all that, but anyway, I'm really out of things. I'm over 40. I'm going to be in Jasmine's home here before long. But what a great thing. Tonight, if I could, I want to look at a verse or two real quick. Psalm 126. If you look at verse 6, he that goeth forth and weepeth, bearing precious seed, shall doubtless come again with rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. He that goeth forth and weepeth, bearing precious seed. There's a couple of things in here. First, there's the person who goes. It doesn't say that you have to be smart. It doesn't say you have to. Several of the testimonies, people were worried about saying it right. I was out with one of our men a long time ago, and when I took each of our men out one by one or in groups, 2 or 3 at a time, and would witness to them and let them listen while I witnessed, and then it's gone. There's so many people involved in it now, but I was out at a door with one of the men, and the other ones were waiting because you don't want to go to a door with 4 people, hey, we're here to talk to you about God, and it's not real good. So I came out, and the one guy was gone, and I don't want anybody to have a bad experience out soul winning, and he's gone. I said, well, I can't help him now. I got 2 guys, and so pretty soon he came walking on the street. He said, hey, I got somebody saved. I said, really? I said, what'd you tell him? Because he was really new. And he said, I remembered Romans 3, there's none righteous, and I got them there, and then I remembered that the wages of sin is death, and he said, I didn't know where to go next, but this morning I was reading in Revelation where it talks about the lake of fire. So I just went over to Revelation and said, you want to go to this place? And they said no, and they trusted Christ. And I don't know, it's better than what people did who stayed home playing whatever video games there are, Let's tell them. Better to tell people and just let God sort it all out. Talk to anybody you can, anywhere you can, but he that goeth forth and weepeth. A gospel tract, I'm guessing once a month, maybe more often, we have a visitor in church because a tract was left in their door. No one even spoke to them. Just somebody had a gospel tract stuck in their door, and they came. Often, I'm going to say maybe once a month, someone just gave out a tract, and they came to church. Not brilliant, bold soul winners, just talking. And I want to encourage you, carry tracts and just pass them out. And I know some of you work so many hours, but you're on your way from the car to the door at Walmart or Stater Brothers, you pass somebody, give them a tract. We are in such an awesome country. You know, none of us get shot for passing out tracts. None of us get thrown in jail for passing out a tract and witnessing to somebody. It's just, you know, the worst that's going to happen, you spend a half hour in a parking lot witnessing to people, maybe the security guard's going to come by, maybe, and say, hey, what are you doing? And you go over and give him a tract and explain what you're doing. We're so blessed. He that goeth forth, somebody's got to go. It's not the welcome sign at the front of the church. It's somebody, he that goeth. He that goeth. He that goeth forth and weepeth. There ought to be some concern. I think the weeping, I think we ought to, all of us, remember where we were. How to remember where we were when we got saved, where we could be had someone not told us how to get saved. Just realize what a mess all of us could be right now, today. And as Jasmine was saying about the rest home, how many people died today and never heard the gospel? And in America, they should. The gospel's everywhere, but the fact is they don't. The fact is, if you go out soul winning much, you talk to people who don't have a clue. And I don't know what's in their heart, but he that goeth forth and weepeth, somebody caring because of who they are, knowing their own weakness, knowing that all we are is a mess with the grace and mercy of God. That's all we are. There's nothing special about us. Nothing special about me or you or our church or our country. It's all just a big umbrella of mercy that God has put on us, and how good God has been to us, good beyond words. Great Christians around the world are suffering for their faith and risking their lives to pass out a tract or hand out Bibles or smuggle Bibles into people or have a church service. And what is it that we're unhappy about, and how shallow? He that goeth forth and weepeth, just to care about people, whether they be in a hospital or a rest home, or to care about people down the street. And I love Long Beach. Whenever I go into Long Beach, I always plan ahead of time how much money I have to give away, because I meet more homeless people there than I meet anybody else here. I mean, if you take our whole population in Wildomar, they have that many homeless people in Long Beach. They're everywhere, and you're supposed to love the poor and care about the poor, and so I'll always have a few dollars. And one day I was walking out of McDonald's and I saw a guy that I had seen there before when I'd been there, and he had a wad of bills about that big, and he looked like a bookie or I don't know, and he had so much. I mean, he's got more money than me, but he doesn't have more Jesus than me. And but the ministry there at Pacific Baptist is just phenomenal, and if you want to go vacation somewhere for a night, you ought to just go visit Pacific Baptist. And that new building is something to covet if you were a sinner and covetous. But he that goeth forth and weepeth, going caring, going tender, going knowing who you are, knowing who they are, knowing the eternal. Could you think about this? I was thinking this week because of our Sunday school lessons. Do you know that Naboth, he's the guy with the vineyard, remember, right outside the wall of the city, and Ahab the king, he wanted that vineyard, and it seemed like a very unjust thing that that Naboth was lied about, and he was publicly humiliated, and then he was stoned. But do you know, for 2,500 years, he's been with the Lord. Amen. Do you think he cares that somebody embarrassed him and lied about him? Come on, amen. 2,500 years. You know where Jezebel's been for 2,500 years? Probably Jezebel and Ahab are in hell. And they're going to be for the next 2,500 years. And the next. And I don't care who they are, that's sad. And people don't get saved unless they come in contact with the seed. I don't mean a gospel tract, I mean the verses that are on it. With the seed. He that goeth forth and weepeth bearing precious seed. it's not me that gets anybody saved. It's the Word of God. Over in 1 Peter, it talks about being born again, not of corruptible seed, but of incorruptible by the Word of God, which liveth and abideth forever. People are saved when they hear the Word of God. And that's why we try to never have any of our literature go out unless there's some Bible, unless some gospel verses in there. And when I talk to people, if it's a Spanish person, I can't get anywhere, I flipped it over so it's got Brother and Ms. Valdez in the front, and there's no Spanish verses on this. But but other than the Spanish people, in my pocket I've got an Arabic tract. Is that I don't know if Wayne, is that an Arabic tract? It's something. I have no idea what it is, but here. You just got out of the shower, or you need to read this. And I don't say that. I'm not being mean. But you know what? Why not reach the Arabic people here? Brother Eckert has 5 or 6 in his class on Sundays. Let's reach people here. They're walking our streets. They're in our grocery stores. And have the gospel there. And I do keep Spanish tracts in my truck and usually in my pocket. But he that goeth forth and weepeth bearing precious seed. What do you need? You need this. On a piece of paper, on a gospel tract. It doesn't matter. You don't have to carry your big family Bible out, but it's the Word of God. And I want to encourage you. He says, he that goeth forth and weepeth bearing precious seed shall doubtless come again rejoicing, bring his sheaves with him. If we'll go, people will get saved. They will. And tonight, I just want to encourage you. Our part is to go. Amen. That's our part. He that goeth forth and weepeth, bearing precious seed, to care enough to go. Let me just encourage you. Join one of our groups, one of our soul winning groups. Several days during the week, we have groups going out soul winning. But get some gospel tracts. Get them from the bookstore. Come by the church office. Get some gospel tracts and talk to people. And now, inviting them to church, I'm not saying don't invite them to church. But that's not going to get them saved. Now, they might get saved when they get here. But if you want to follow, and I'm not going to take time to go through the book of Acts. Maybe next week we'll do a little bit of it. But in the book of Acts, they brought their converts to church. In this verse, he'll doubtless come again rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. You see, the soul winner is the one who goes out and gets the people saved and brings them in. And there are, of course, people who come and get saved at church, and we're for that. If they come 2 or 3 weeks, 2 or 3 months and get saved. I was thinking today of Paul Young. Brother Paul, wasn't it at the Colorado River when you kind of got your salvation settled? Am I remembering that story right? He'd been in church a lot. He'd just been wrestling with some doubts. And here, an adult man, a career man, great family, great everything about Paul and Gloria Young. And he went over to the Colorado River a couple of days ahead of the men and just sat for a couple of days. I don't remember the story. It was a long time ago. 20 years ago, right? A long time ago. And he said he just sat there at Park Milwaukee right outside Needles and reading his Bible for a couple of days. And he said it was there. I got that thing settled, that I was saved. It's the Word of God. And what a joy it does to our heart that you come again rejoicing, bringing his sheaves with him. And if I had a choice tonight of one of my kids being a superstar athlete or I don't know what you are in cyberspace, 10,000 followers on their YouTube channel or whatever, or a Sunday school teacher, let them teach Sunday school. Let them witness and give the gospel out and go soul winning. And I want to encourage you as we think about missions. And again, I don't know, and the folks from Pacific are the most humble, gracious Christians I know. You'll never hear them criticize anybody, and you'll never hear them complain, and they got plenty to complain about. But I would guess, percentage-wise, they have a higher percentage of their students on the mission field than any college in America. That'd be my guess. I don't know that, but that would be a guess. And they have a burden for the world, a deep burden that Pastor Joe got started just after we started our church. And I want to encourage you, most of you, this is home. And you may move here and there. God could move you. The devil could move you. But hopefully you'll stay in a good church. But for most of us, it's our house, our job. And we ought to be witnessing. But some of you ought to consider what God would have you do for the world. Amen. And by the way, a lot of you are bilingual. Yes, man, do we need you out soul winning. Brother Record and I last week were knocking on doors in Wildomar in these nice homes, and nobody's home. Nobody's home. I said, forget it. I'd already prayed early in the morning. I'd prayed. So we're going to go here for a while, and then we're going to go to downtown. And I talked to as many people in downtown as I did over here, because no one was home over here. And I talked to a couple people, but I had Brother Record with me to do the soul winning part, the Spanish. But boy, you're so valuable. As Brother Joseph said, every one of us has something inside. We can make a difference for God. We can. And thank God for you church nursery workers, and I hope you pray over the nursery and hope you do a good job and greet people and pray over the babies, pray for the family. But can I tell you something? There's people out there that they're never going to get into your nursery unless we knock on their door. They're just not. And choir members, thank God for you. I love our music program, and I love what God's doing to our music program, all of our kids choirs and teen choir and all. But you know what? Nobody to sing to if we don't find them. And so I want to encourage you tonight, just simply let's go. That's what the command is. Father, bless us and help us. May we be